us.
Yeah, what is
That's my response to that, right? I don't know. I don't know what normal is anymore, Evan. Like, I mean, that's that we'll get into it here a little bit later in the show, but I mean, that's kind of tonight's topic, right? Like change and adapting to change. So when I'm like, who does a Friday afternoon wedding? Well, maybe that's a thing now, right? Not, I haven't kept up as well with like, what are all the things now? You know, and I don't know if that's the getting older piece or that's the not having time to, you know, keep up with some of that crap, but I don't know, there's new trends.
I just don't give a shit.
Well, there's that too, but like some stuff you have to keep up with, like, you know, and a lot of that's changing too.
Like what?
Well, you know, the our industry, obviously, for starters, right? There's a lot of movement and change. You know, we got to go to IPv6 now. Like,
Well,
as
that's not new.
no, but it's non-optional new, right? The enforcement piece. A lot of what we've been like, yeah, so 20 years ago, somebody said this should probably happen. But now we're to a point where, you know, insurance companies are dropping and not giving coverage. And a lot of people are self-insuring, and geopolitical events are causing changes in things, and just it's this constant change. And there's a, you know, some of the technology is advancing a little bit quicker than I think we thought it might. So it's that change agility piece. And as I was processing the latest crazy science thing that I've learned of, I was like, man, like it used to be hard enough to keep up when we were in this kind of binary electrical, you know, very physical-ish kind of digital world. And then as some of these, you know, new advancements in physics that aren't as off in the distance from a commercial viability standpoint, right? Are moving at an accelerated rate. And we're now introducing things like mixed reality. And there's that kind of generational expectation. Then you could look at what's happening with the TikTok. Well, if we're supposed to secure all this stuff and do all these things, I'm like, man, and we got to keep up with these changes because the attack vectors are shifting and changing. How you evaluate the risk, what you look at to evaluate the risk is evolving. And so that's kind of what led me down the thought path of this, which is I think it's very important to have high change agility on your security team, and they have to be adaptable to be at their peak of effectiveness. But I don't know, you know, if you agree, disagree. But I think change agility, I guess to say it in short, I think change agility plays a significant role in an organization's security posture, both from the security team's perspective, but also from the business. Like, how adaptable is the business? How agile is the business to change? So that was kind of what I was thinking about that led to tonight's topic. And I don't know where our friend Chris is. I just texted him.
I got rid of my avatar. I got tired of my avatar. I'll bring it back later. So I didn't catch anything that you just said. Do you mind taking it from the top?
Starting, yeah. Change. Your ability to adjust to change in a constant fashion. So like continuous risk, thinking about
like underwear
change. I mean, you should change them frequently. I don't know if continuously changing them is a good idea, but daily for sure.
That's what my wife says.
Or go commando. That's always an option too. You can alternate one day with, one day without.
Funny you mentioned that. That came up this morning in a meeting. Somebody said commando, and I said, I just do doe. You know what doe is?
A deer, a female deer.
It's no clothes.
No clothes. Oh, I did not know that.
Well, I made
I
it up.
called that nude. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can call it nude if you want. Pretty much the same thing. So yeah, I don't know what's with Chris. Have you talked to him today?
I have not. I texted him just a little bit ago here. I didn't hear anything. I talked to him. When did I talk to him last? Yesterday? Yeah.
What day's today?
Today is Thursday.
Okay,
Before.
I'll buy that.
Yeah.
I'll buy that.
That's what my calendar says. I mean, I don't know if that's actually true because I don't know if we're looking at time in this dimension or the recently discovered one where the alternate time lives.
There's another one.
So there was a discovery made of a new type of matter that appears to behave as if it is a time fabric, if you will, in another dimension. It appears to be a multidimensional material. They were in the layest terms I can put it in, they were using laser beams to try to stabilize spinning time crystals to do error correction for networking. So they were trying to do the error correction on the packet transfer and hit it with a super high powered laser beam. And we're like, oh, what's that? Oh, it's just another dimension of time. Oh, okay. Well, it gave us the math delta because Schrodinger, right? You can't look.
No, they still don't. They make shit up, dude.
Okay, well,
You can't explain something. So then it's like, it's another dimension of time. And then you're like, wow. All right. So then, because that's how theories work, right? You can't prove theories. You try to disprove them. And so then you just continue to build theories. So if your base theory is shit, you just keep stacking on shit on top of shit on top of shit. Next thing you know, it's like, we're all just doing psychedelic drugs. That's the only thing. I mean, you're not in another time dimension. You're sitting right in fucking front of me and I can see you. And you're like,
right.
No, bro, I'm on fucking Mars right now, brother.
That's a little, no, it's not quite like that.
And I just saw you over there, but you're actually behind me at the same time. Tell me how that works. You're like, oh, it's quantum. Oh, really?
I mean, that is kind of how they describe it as working.
Mm-hmm. So you saw this week, Psych, one of the, NIST's doing their competition for quantum resistant encryption. And yes. Psych was one of the ones that made it to round 4. 4 of them made it to round 4. Psych was compromised with a Xeon processor in less than an hour. With an attack that was, I don't know, 12 years old.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm writing an article on essentially my take that encryption to date has primarily been used, except when transmitting, it's primarily been used as a stopgap for good security. That I can forego a lot of hard work to actually know what the hell is going on and secure it through proper access control. I can throw encryption at it and I can get a little bit more lackadaisical. So everybody's worrying about quantum and quantum encryption. And my argument essentially is the fundamentals are not only good for the analog digital realm, but also apply in the quantum realm. And if you do that right, you don't need to worry as much about whether your encryption is quantum proof, because you need to be more concerned with data provenance and data adulteration and the ability to detect that earlier in the food chain.
You realize that nobody knows what you're saying.
I'm sure they don't, but.
No, I know. It's funny because I was down in Mexico. So 2 things. I was down in Mexico last week and random Twitter guy was there with me. He's a CISO for some other company or something. And so I like to pick on CISOs. So I was like, tell me what you do. But tell it to me like you're explaining it to my wife who's sitting over there. Say it like that so she understands. Don't talk to me like a security guy. He's like, blah, 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 and he goes on, and I'm like, about maybe 2 minutes into it, I said, AJ, you realize you lost me a half an hour ago. He's like, well, I've only been talking for 2 minutes. I go, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, we do that talking thing. I don't understand it. You know, the best way to protect data, the best way, guaranteed to work.
Don't create it in the first place.
Don't have it. Yep. So here's a theory that I'm thinking. The differentiators, you know, in business for a while now has been new features, new things, new this, new that. I think that the coming thing is simple.
Mm-hmm.
Stay focused on what you do. Don't worry about all the other bullshit, and you'll dominate.
Mm-hmm.
While other people are getting, you know, their asses handed to them because they got all this fucking shit that they can't secure. You got 3 things, but you're kicking ass because those 3 things are the best 3 things in the world. They make you an assload of money. Who gives a fuck? That's my theory.
Yeah. And I think it is. And I think there's going to be a higher degree of accountability to doing it to a higher standard. I think you're going to see more push and actual enforcement on things like, you know, the safety angle. And it's all like all pendulums, right? Like, how far do we want to chase this dragon? We got AI now that is not sentient, but it is sentient-ish. But more importantly, we have started to trust its decisions. We have started to transfer some of the legwork that we might do. Well, that's why we built the computer in the first place, because the abacus was, you know, to overcome doing it in our head, get the abacus, we go faster. We get to the digital calculator, and that's still not quite fast enough. We go to the computer to do these huge mathematic operations so we can solve problems quicker. And we learn to trust that output. Well, now we have a generation that is pretty much trained to trust whatever the computer says to begin with. And now we put decision rights in the hands of that computer, and humans being humans, if I don't have to worry about it, if I don't have to think about it, if it's not my immediate problem, yeah, I think it's good, right? Is it good? Yeah, it's good. Good. Okay, it's good. Yeah.
Right.
And if we're not adjusting to the change because we don't understand it, to your point, don't understand what the hell I'm saying, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, right? Like, there's a certain degree of if that's where these things are moving, if that's where those pieces are moving, and we're leaving a whole bunch more behind. We left a lot behind the first time when we went from kind of the analog realm to the modern digital era, right? How many people really know how their iPhone works?
Well, how many apps do you have on your iPhone?
As few as I can.
I know, but you ask, you know, any security person, how many apps do you have in your iPhone? What percentage of them would be able to tell you?
Very few. I can't give you the exact count because
I know, but
done it.
Well, but it's that same like simple logic. One of the things that never lets you down, you know, like wisdom, right? Wisdom is it doesn't have an expiration date. It lives forever, right? There's certain things that are just fundamentally true. And the further you start kind of doing this ancillary shit, the further you get from that truth, I think the more dangerous everything becomes. Like, the best way to protect yourself against ransomware is not to have a fucking computer.
I mean, 100%, right? 100%. Now,
could you run your business? Probably. I mean, how many people are running a whole bunch of shit, whole bunch of computers, a whole bunch of servers, whole bunch of databases, whole bunch of networks, whole bunch of applications, whole bunch of data that you don't actually need to run your business? And then you complain to me about, you know, well, we don't have budget for that. Well, it's because you pissed it all away on this other shit, right?
Right.
It's fun. It's funny because I don't know. It's just weird. It just feels like we're in this spot where the house of cards comes crumbling down, and the companies that will succeed will be the ones that stayed focused and ran well. The big companies, the big enterprise shit, they control enough things that you can't really take them down because they're so tied in with everybody. But I'm talking like small to mid-sized business. I'm talking like up to, I don't know, probably 30, 40,000 employees. It's the really, really big ones that doesn't really matter what they do. I don't know. I'm in a weird spot, thinking all this shit through.
Yeah. I can tell you that empathy, transparency, like there is very much an element of cold transactional business just not being as palatable. I don't think people, they don't want to interact with a faceless, nameless corporation. They get enough of that when they shop on Amazon, right? They want to, if you're going to be in a business that you're touching people, that you're not the big whatever, right? You're not Target. You're not just this corporate, giant corporate entity. You got to deal with people. Transaction isn't really the thing. Money is there. The money thing's always a thing, but not really. It's more, can I trust you? Because the last guy I trusted, well, then they had their thing and then that screwed me this way. Or, I don't know. It's post-pandemic is weird. Business in the post-pandemic. I don't know. That's a factor too, right? People are still dealing with, now we got monkeypox.
No, man. Here's the thing that I don't understand. We got so many fucking like really, really smart people. And when you do the math, and you work through shit, you almost question your own sanity because it's like, it's wrong. Plain and simple. I mean, it's not even, you're not even close to being right. Like, it's funny you mentioned monkeypox. I was talking to somebody about, because now that you can almost sort of have a logical discussion about some of this shit with some people. For the longest time, you couldn't. Like, if I said anything like, maybe we should think again about our approach to this problem. And you're like, oh, you're a fucking anti-vaxxer, whatever. No, I'm not saying any of that shit. I'm
right.
vaxxed. I mean, I'm not saying that. So I was thinking as of 8/3, so it was actually this morning, I was doing my fucking weird math shit. So world population estimated 7.96 billion people today. According to the data, and I don't know, you can question the data, but if the data is shit, then why the fuck do we even have it? I mean, why are we even talking about it if it's shit data? So either you're going to accept the data as like data, or you're going to say, don't. But according to 500 as of this morning or yesterday, whatever 8/3 was, 585 million coronavirus cases. Okay, so
585 million.
Yeah. So you do the math, that's 7.36% of the world is infected by coronavirus as of 8/3. Right?
Yep.
So, but if you just take the number, right? And that's the thing, if you just take the number, 585 million, you're like, holy fuck, that's a lot of people. You put it into context, it's like 7.36%. Right? So it depends on what number you're going to give me. And ignorant people, I think, that don't understand risk and context, they can't do this, right? And we deal with these people all the time. So the coronavirus deaths, as of yesterday, 6.428 million, which equates to 0.081% of the world. So 0.081% of the world died from coronavirus or whatever, and 1.098% of the infected. So if you were infected, 1.098% of those people died. Then you have recoveries, right? So you work these math things, and you're like, I don't know, man.
There's a lot of money being made.
And then you don't even take into account like comorbidities and age.
Right. There's a lot of money being made by stirring these pots and keeping crisis. We've been in crisis mode forever. That's why I was saying, and now it's monkeypox.
Crisis sells.
It does. It generates money, right?
So take this. We talk about information security. Information security is risk management. If the same people who make these decisions can't put risk into context, they're making the same decisions about information security. So you look at, an attack or a hack or whatever, you think, oh my God, that is so fucking amazing, and whatever. You put it into context, it's like, it doesn't even fucking matter in greater context, right? So take monkeypox, 26,540 people or some shit as of 8/3, because I was looking at the monkeypox too. I'm trying to figure out, okay, so 26,000 confirmed cases worldwide as of 8/3. What's 26,000 divided by 7.96 billion?
A lot.
It's infinitesimal. It's statistically insignificant. It's like, it shouldn't even be a blip on the radar yet. And now we're going to declare an emergency.
There's a lot of news that isn't making news that should be. There's a lot of things being used to do other things. Like there was a baby formula shortage, which, okay, that happened. And the people that wanted to feed their kids probably didn't take time to actually read what the modification to the import-export law also opened the door for.
Right.
Or let's just take Minnesota for fun. I'm not worried whether they can correctly count anything when our legislator doesn't read the legislation before they vote on it and then goes to the judge to ask him to undo it and tries to argue in court. And I'm very disappointed he didn't win, because if he won, I wouldn't have a mortgage anymore. Tried to argue, I didn't read it, but I still signed it, and now I want out of it.
Right. Well, you look at some of those.
That's new. That's new.
Wasn't it like Obamacare? Wasn't that like 12,000 pages or something? Mm-hmm. And they had less than like 24 hours to read it before they signed it. It's like, there's no way in fuck you read that.
Right.
What's in it? No.
Right.
Don't worry about it. Just go back to your ignorant self.
Well, it's just, yeah.
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 Well, so that the thing about change is good, right? But there's some changes that are good, and there's some changes that are not. The changes are good are the changes that are good for you.
Right.
Right. Like for me, take my life right now, a good change would be more rest. A good change would be a healthier diet. Those would be good changes. What's not a good change for me is, hey, let's do some more fucking technology. Let's get some more fucking gadgets. Let's get more distracted. Let's read more fucking statistics about more shit that I can create more fucking spreadsheets and more math things. That's not healthy change. And I think people are losing their ability to even understand what a healthy change is. They just, I need that thing. Why do you need that thing? Well, because my neighbor's got the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your neighbor's like killing himself right now. Yeah, but he's got the thing. Well, fuck you and the thing. You don't want it. Right. I mean, it's weird. And then we use a bunch of big words, I think, to hide a bunch of shit from people, And I'm not saying that quantum's not a real thing. I know quantum's a real thing. And I know the words that you use for real things.
I know.
But
you're right. It's like legal speak.
When people go out and buy shit, do you even know what the fuck you're buying?
No, they don't. They have no idea. When I remember when Alexa first came out and it was that hype window, and Google was right behind it. So I'm not picking on any one or the other, and whatever the lawyer disclaimer was from that other episode applies now. But the fever around that, I would describe that as a fever, right? And then somebody posts to social media that they can go intruder, and then it changes the lights to red and plays, freaking Welcome to the Jungle or something, right? That drove sales in a way that is terrifying. If you've never seen Idiocracy, I encourage anyone listening, if you've never seen the movie Idiocracy, please go and watch it.
But isn't that the world we live in right now? I mean,
that's like my point. It was a comedy about, one of my favorite lines is the mom's trying to get some food out of the vending machine because the Carl's Jr. is now a self-service machine, which is the next step from what we have today. And it won't give her food. So it goes, Carl's Jr., fuck you, I'm eating. And then won't give her the food, and then turns her in for being a bad mother who can't feed her children because it errored out and took her money like a vending machine would. I don't feel like that's as far off as a fantasy as it maybe once was. Somebody tweets something, says something, there's no investigation, there's no validation. And with all the deep fakes and all that, I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's getting weird, man. It's getting weird.
Well, and we alter reality. We alter reality to fit our ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking weird. Like, and it comes even, I mean, and I'm not playing political. I think all politicians are fucking evil for the most part. There's probably one or two, but they'll be tainted.
The system's definitely gross.
Yeah, but they kind of fucked it up. But like when Biden was saying, yeah, this isn't a recession. It's like, I took economics in college. I took economics in high school. The economic definition that I remember was 2 consecutive quarters of retraction in the GDP is a recession.
No. You see that you're using the banned doublespeak the Department and Ministry of Truth has decided for you. That's right. No longer applicable.
And I don't know why people don't call shit out. Like, have you ever been part of a homeowners association before?
Oh, hell no. Never. Nope. Not a chance. My personality in that is in direct conflict.
Well, in Mexico, I'm part of a homeowners association.
Okay.
And I think it's the funniest shit. Well, funny and sad. It's like, what the fuck? So, you've been there. We live up on the hill and,
Mm-hmm.
gated community.
I'm excited. I'll be there soon.
I know, dude. We're going to have so much fun. But the president of our homeowners association sent out like an email to all the homeowners, like on Sunday or Monday,
Mm-hmm.
whatever day, someday this week. And she's like, yeah, somebody up on the hill was robbed last night. I'm like, okay. So, be on the lookout and take care. And so I messaged her back. I didn't message the whole group. She messaged the whole group. I messaged her back. I'm like, can I have a little more information? Is there something to look at? Or, what was taken? Is there a description? What time of day was it? Was the door unlocked? Give me something to look out for. Because I'm always, when you tell me stay diligent, well, I'm always fucking diligent. That's not going to change anything. And, but then you saw all the emails from all the homeowners. Like, we got to get guards, an armed guard at the gate, and just I'm like, whoa. You kind of going, well, we don't know shit about what actually took place.
Right.
This might be a common occurrence, and we just found out about one, and what the fuck? Chill the fuck out. But I didn't respond to any of it. I just watched it happen. And I'm talking like 50 emails yesterday. Just crazy shit. And then one guy, Rudy, chimes in this evening and he says, hey, I've lived down this hill for 34 years. And this is, we've seen things like this happen before. And usually it's an insider. It's one of the staff members took something.
Mhm.
You know, you totally put things into context. I'm like, then I replied to the whole group, thank you, Rudy, for a voice of reason, because I don't know any of these people yet, you know.
Right.
But it reminded me of so many of these things that we do as people. We just have these knee-jerk reactions. We don't think. Take a fucking minute. I mean, and maybe these people have lost the ability to even do that. I don't know. It was fucking just insane to watch. And then you take that shit, you take the coronavirus, because coronavirus stuff is supposed to be risk-driven kind of decision-making. That's what drives most of us, and like a lot of the shit we do. Yeah,
well,
I don't
it's
think
literally baked into you.
Yeah.
You're human. I mean, that's literally what it means to be a human, how you made it to here, how your ancestor made it to, I mean, this is where that analog digital split comes from. And I think everything you're seeing has to and is rooted deeply in the divide I watched unfold as I grew up, because I come from the analog world, and there were certain behavioral norms. And I'm not one of those like, let's go back to the old days. I get it. There's plenty of stuff that was wrong, but there was a lot of stuff that was human, that was in place because it had always been in place. And that was things like community and being more interactive physically within your community, where now your community's whatever's on the other side of that VR headset, and you're talking to a raccoon and a panda. That's your community. You're going there to get your advice. You're going there to get your support. Those community functions are now being filled by, and in a lot of cases, not even a human being, right? Your therapist, because you can't afford one, or God forbid you're an underserved person, have any kind of socioeconomic or unique need to talk to somebody more like you than what's available. There's none of those either, right? So like, it affects the mental health. I mean, it's just so much of this stuff. And frankly, it started when we removed consequence.
Yeah, accountability,
creating a barrier of I can say whatever I want, and you're too far away to touch me. It's the bully on the playground, no, boo boo, that says the trash when they're able to run faster than the big kid they're talking trash to. You know what I mean? Like it's I don't know. I'm not advocating for violence. I'm just saying, when random strangers might punch you for you being a jackass, I seem to feel like there was a lot less jackassery.
Well, yeah, you showed respect, right? That was always one.
You were afraid not to.
That was always one way to get your ass kicked, was to be disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
You could say something that the big guy in the room or whatever disagreed with,
mm-hmm.
but you just did it with respect. You know what I mean? We should make all everybody, like, because it reminds me of the biker culture. I mean, I've never had a problem surviving around, some of the baddest ass of the baddest ass. You know what I mean? Because I always respected them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It wasn't hard.
And you can respect and not like and not agree. And
totally.
It was, what's funny is I see the same people that yell about marginalizing one group marginalize another. I see all kinds of hypocrisy in the way that it's applied across all the boards. And it comes down to that dehumanize element, which again, lizard brain, right? Like soldiers can't kill until they've been trained to kill, unless they're sociopaths, because you have to see them as the enemy and not the human. Well, now, if you disagree with an opinion that I formed based on a thing that I saw on the internet that I now decide is fact, 2.5 to 4 seconds of video footage, and I got the whole fucking thing figured out.
Right.
I don't know. There's something there. The other thing is, I don't think we're built for this level of information. I think having the internet as a library source and at your pace accessing it, yes, I think that is beautiful. That was part of its original intent. Being force-fed a steady drip of dopamine And that dopamine being supercharged with rage and hate and things to keep you in a swirl, whatever your version of that is, right? Maybe it's throwing numbers at you and statistics, so you're like, damn it, now I gotta make another fucking spreadsheet to straighten this shit out, right? It's maybe it's a particular group, they're them being marginalized, being highlighted significantly more this week, and the next week it'll be something else, right? Or it's here's those damn Democrats, those damn Republicans, the this, that, the next thing, whatever it is, you're making everybody a shit ton of money sitting on the glow box, pushing buttons. And that's what I see when I walk outside, people looking down at their phones. And now we want to alter their reality. We literally want to alter the way in which they see the world and allow them the freedom to choose. Okay, but also, like, you do understand that, is that freedom to choose, or is that freedom to choose from the available options that are controlled? And if it is freedom to choose, you do understand there's some messed up people in this world and they're going to choose to want to see. So now they're walking down the street, and what you see as physically in front of you and what they see as physically in front of them when you're looking at the same thing aren't the same thing.
Right.
And that's happening now, like today. Like this isn't off in the future crap. This is, so
my dad would call this doubling down on dumb.
I think so. I do.
No, well, it's not even, I mean, I think logically it 100% makes sense. You know what I mean?
Double down on the dumb?
No.
Oh.
what you're saying is true, because are you responsible with the shit you currently have? And the answer is no. And so let's add more shit to it. Let's dive deeper into this abyss of tomfuckery. I got back from, especially this last trip, I got back from Mexico. I love it there because I'm not connected all the time. I mean, I'm out doing things. It's like fucking jungle. I saw, I didn't see it. A friend saw it. A crocodile, big motherfucker, crawl the beach into the ocean on the beach.
Sweet.
And then we saw 2 octopuses. I don't know if you call them octopuses.
Octopi.
Octopies. Right. Grammars and words aren't my thing. But chasing each other. We went on one of our dives, chasing each other on this rock, this big, huge rock. One of them was big, so they must be territorial. So they were chasing each other. What else did I see? Sea turtle. I showed you the video of that. What the fuck was that thing? A big fish.
Oh, grouper.
Right?
Yeah.
Some bitch was bigger than me. But you see all these things and you realize, like, why would I want an alternative reality? Nothing can beat this reality. You see the sunsets, you see the ocean, you see the people. The people, that I meet down there are the most amazing people ever. Why do I want something different than this? And so then you come back to work, because I didn't work at all really last week. And you come back to work on Tuesday and it was like, oh my God, I don't like computers. I don't want this. I'm going to throw this fucker through the window. But then you get back into it and you're like, okay, I'm back, whatever. But I don't know, when you have those big distinctions between not being connected for a while and being connected, you don't really notice there's another world, the world right in front of you. The only reason why I would, and so if I were to get the virtual reality thing, I would be responsible with it because I understand these dynamics. I would do it for entertainment purposes, not for escape purposes,
right? Not
because I want to be somebody else, not because I want to go somewhere else. I want to be entertained. Like I would watch a movie or I'd watch a TV show. The sad thing is there aren't a lot of people. I don't think there's enough people like this, like me, like you. I think there are people that will go here as their escape.
And the
I
sad part
need it.
is,
I have to be there. I have to be in this virtual reality.
right. No, it's already happening. And so I was watching a documentary. I can't remember the name of it, but not too long ago. And there was a girl. I think I could remember it when we did the show and I had just seen it. So maybe go back a different couple episodes. But what I had said, what she had said that just hit me so deep was this darkness and despair she felt in the regular physical realm, right? Like was not treated well by the physical humans, did not have up to this point in her life a positive experience. There was no love, there was no attention, there was, there's she gets on the internet and she's validated and she's valued and she's valuable.
But you see, that was one of those
every
things.
Fucking second of her life from that moment forward is all about spending more time in the place. And it doesn't matter that like isn't actually backed by, or always backed by genuine, you know what I mean? Like,
right. But the thing that she missed out on, which is part of development of a human being and their social skills, is their ability to navigate that, to find the right people that mix and the right dynamics that fit in your social group. Because I also, and you do too, you and I have talked about this. I grew up an only child, on military bases, and it was hard to make friends. So for a long time, I was the outcast. I didn't connect, right? But you learn to kind of, if you want to connect, stop trying so hard to connect. You know what I mean? That's basically what I learned. Focus on yourself. Be a better you. And then people, somehow just get attracted to that. Now, but that all those lessons, now I don't have any problems at all making friends. I mean, just be nice to them.
Right.
Well,
it's magical.
Yeah. But I wouldn't have learned that unless I had gone through that. If you would have injected or given me the opportunity, now they didn't have iPhones.
Oh, I know.
They do not. If you would have given me that shit back then, I would have very much been her. And then I wouldn't have social skills. And
okay, so this was some years ago. Gosh, more than I care to mention ago. But the phone was a thing. It was early thing, but it was a thing. And we were at an event where they had brought in some AP high school students to visit a company, right? They came in to visit a company and talk to the people, what's it like to have a job and be a professional, blah, blah, blah. And it was like a freaking junior high dance from back in the day. All the girls were in one line on one side. All the boys were in another line on another side. And they were all heads down in their phones. And I'm like, that's not going to be good. I just knew then. I'm like, ooh. And it's not. You cannot be eloquent in 140 characters. You cannot convey intent digitally. I don't care how many emojis you use.
Well, you don't learn all of the other things that come along with it too, like the nonverbal. Cues, a woman can say no to you without having to say no.
Right. I mean, my wife can say a year's worth of things to me with a glare.
Right. So, I mean, you learn all these things, and there's that age of self-discovery that everybody goes through, right? Because when you're young, you don't know who you are. There's so many opportunities. The world's so fucking new. And, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? And you navigate these waters and you figure out, okay, this is who I am. And I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm comfortable in my own skin. There are maybe 5 people on the planet that could tear me down with their words because I've let them get that close in my relationship. Everybody else, call me whatever you want to call me. It's not going to bother me. I don't give 2 shits. I don't find my identity in that.
Right.
But you had to learn all this shit. And he didn't learn it on a computer. You can't learn it on a computer. You can't learn it in virtual reality. You got to learn it by living life. You went through the same thing. I mean, you and I have talked about, your upbringing and the awkwardness and, finding yourself. And And I think,
oh, I'm still the weird kid. I get on calls. I'm like, hey, hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a little bit different. It's just now I've embraced my oddity. I've embraced, and it's like, you know, my old man, I can't wait for you to meet him. But it's, you know, fuck them. Fuck them. Fuck them all. Fuck them. Because guess what? They're just looking to fuck you. Right? They either don't give a shit at all, or they're out to get you.
Let's at least use a condom or something.
Right. But it's that was, and for a while when I was like, no, I want to be better. I want to do better. Like, trust me, I spent plenty of days as a very, very shitty person, but trying to be on a path of improvement. You know, I want to be better. I want to do better. I will tell you, as the grays come in, I'm like, his approach was slightly off, but I don't feel like he's quite wrong. Why am I letting that person's opinion of me matter? Why should my happiness, and this is the truth of it, this is what it is everybody's seeking validation. They're seeking a fulfillment, a good feeling, a hit of dopamine. You're a human being, whether you like it or not. You're still, somebody said it the other day that I heard, where it's like, your brain has been hitting remind me later on its update for 100 and some thousand years, right? You're still in that lizard brain biologic. I need to eat. I need to do these things. Well, like for me, I have to start working out now. Like, I'm going to have to budget time into my day to go lift weights, because for some reason, when I sit in a chair all day long, I lose weight. I don't gain weight. And I'm like eating fistfuls of gummy bears, drinking Monsters, right? So I got to work out physically to like compensate, go out to the shop more, do these physical things, because they're so important to my mental health, so important to my overall well-being, so important to, right? But I can't do that if I'm on the phone all day, if I'm on the keyboard all day, if it's just digital life only.
But that's the key. How much of your mental health and your mental stability is found in self-realization, understanding who you are, where you fit, feeling comfortable in your own skin, discovering these things, right? They don't just come to you. It's not like some magic wand just waves over. You have to navigate the waters, and sometimes you get steered in the wrong direction. Sometimes you get steered in the right direction, but you wouldn't know the wrong direction unless you kind of went down it a little bit. And so you learn all of these things. And we talk about how important mental health is and social structures to mental health. And I don't know why we don't give enough credence to, you know, psychiatrists and psychologists on all of these things, because we already separate with computers, right?
Right.
We talk to each other on computers all the time. I don't go and sit down with people nearly as much as I should. And you don't really realize this either until you're like in the shit. And I think that was the big reason why I didn't want to get back on the computer on Tuesday morning, was because it felt so good to fucking talk to people face to face, to ask, you know, beyond just how you doing? Good, doing good. Okay, talk to you later.
Right.
You know, have real discussions with shit. And then we lose all that shit with the computers. Now virtual reality, you're fucking kidding me? And now, you know, and then you sprinkle the pandemic in. We have all the data on the people, not all the data, but that's what we keep referring to, is the data of people who died from coronavirus. What we can't quantify and can't get our head around is data on what this fucking did to our heads.
So actually, hit the Googles. If you can't find it, let me know. They did just put out a mental health study, 47% or something like that. Like, it's like, yeah, this thing fucked us up, because they said stay at home for 2 weeks. Well, there's only so much banana bread anybody can make. And then now what? Right. And so it became, I'm still recovering from the shit. And I'm like eyes wide open, trying to, you know, in the moment navigate. You know me, I'm always introspecting and navigating, trying to improve. But
well, I'll be honest, you still see people that won't come out of the house.
I know.
I saw somebody got all over my ass when I said post-pandemic. Like, the pandemic's not over.
Like, it is for me, and I'm sorry if it's not for you. I got to move on in life. I got monkeypox to worry about. I got quantum computers to worry about. I got businesses to grow. I got other problems.
I was explaining to me, you know what? And she goes, "Well, you haven't heard about the latest variant?" I'm like, "No, I haven't been reading about it. Tell me about it." but you know what, because I wanted to show some like respect, like tell me what the hell's going on in that head of yours, you know, without me saying what the hell's going on in that head of yours. And I'm like, wow, okay, all right, you know, I guess I'd rather die maybe from coronavirus doing shit I love to do versus staying in my fucking house with my cats, eating, you know, ramen noodles.
You know what? And all the pandemicness aside, there is something I have noticed, and I was reflecting on this. Our grandparents, but more importantly, their parents, would be looking at just about everything that we have to complain about today, and then they would smack us in the head.
Which you can't smack anybody in the head anymore now.
And they would smack us in the head for that too. Like, it's just because it's a thing. It's like, I think we've gotten too comfortable. I think we've forgotten the value that struggle brings to the refining process of becoming a productive fucking human, right? You and I talk about this all the time, that when God is building me up for the next thing, everything goes sideways. Everything that can't work out doesn't work out. But if I'm being very honest, every single problem that I have is somebody else's fantasy or dream. And I should count myself lucky to have in the challenges I do, right? Because I live a very blessed and privileged life in comparison to a lot of other people that didn't get dealt the deck of cards of life that I was fortunate enough to get. Right. But you got,
well, and even then,
you got to check in with yourself, you know.
A lot of people use that as an excuse, you know what I mean? You know, what have you done? You know, have you gotten off the couch? Have you given any effort? I think, especially here in the Western culture, we strive so hard to be comfortable. Comfort. And the difference between me and I think a lot of other people, is I've always viewed comfort as an idol. Meaning, I don't want to be comfortable. I feel like if I'm being rest, sure, do fun things. That's not what I'm saying about comfort. I'm saying comfort is like I don't really have to push any farther. I don't really have to push any harder. Like, I'm good. You know, I don't know. It's fucked up.
Well, and I think a lot of that comes from, naturally, a human's drive to do anything is rooted back to biology, right? And yes, we are now this modern culture and society, and we've gone through these human evolutions, but also, like, you ever been to a soccer game? Have you ever like seen what happens when large groups of humans get together and somebody goes, oh, like, it's not good, because that's that primal piece. And because we have tried to virtualize the tribe, because we have eliminated a hurt knee. There was a comedian I was watching on Netflix that was talking about this. She's roughly my age. And she's like, when we were kids, like, at least a quarter of the school was in a cast at any given time. Like, when's the last time we saw a cast? Like this, you know, when's the last time somebody got hurt? Have you seen a playground? Like, she's making all these references. I'm like, yeah, I remember the slide that would give you 3rd-degree burns. And I remember why you held on when you were on the screen, because if you didn't, you were going to bounce off the asphalt, right? Because you learn those lessons. And I think in Western culture, we have just put up so many pillows to avoid a stubbed toe that now we're like, I'm very fearful if real things happen where people actually have to like be under stress or struggle, because it's I don't know what they're going to do. Siri's not going to have the answer. Now what?
Come to Mexico.
Already plotting my plans.
But they even in Mexico though, you're starting to see it's not technology that's the disease, it's the irresponsible use of technology that's the disease. Mm-hmm. If you take the time to adopt technology as you learn it, as you can be responsible with it, you know, more power to you. But it's the addiction. It's like all in. I need the latest and greatest, whatever the fuck I need, because I don't know. I just do, I guess.
So here's a fun one. Here's a fun one. Okay, so let's go back to my favorite analogy, the automobile. So we've had the automobile for what, 100 and some odd years now, give or take 150, something like that. Quite a long time. I predict within one generation, the instinct to push your foot to the floor when the car is getting too close to the other car that every passenger born before the year 1990 knows about, right? It's gone, because before I could even react to step on the brake, the car did it for me. And that's in cars today. I'm already seeing people get lazier with the auto driving. And it's like, okay, so you know, that's indicative of a problem. You can kill somebody with the thing you're operating in the instant that you have the option to not, nope, it's not me, it's the car. You take it.
Yeah.
Also, we don't have flying cars because, well, I've seen how you people drive, right? So you talk about the technology adoption, and there you go. That's where it gets interesting. The cell phone has the power to kill more than just the user, but that's not how it's perceived. The car, like, think about these things they allow us to have that have to be regulated. Like, I can purchase dangerous flammable gases and stuff for my shop, right? And you have to handle them a certain way, and if you don't, you can take out the neighbors. Right. Well, okay, so I have to have placards and things and such, and there's rules about these things. The phone, which controls the thing that fills up the gas I bring home.
Right.
No big deal.
Well, you talk about, when you were talking about placards, it just popped into my head. I think one of the stupidest fucking things we did with GDPR was the fucking cookie thing. Because one of the behaviors we were trying so hard with users was to read the error messages rather than just clicking them. So then what we do is, well, let's just bombard the fuck out of them with every website they go to with messages, and they just want to go to the website. So they're not reading that fucking shit. They're saying, accept all those fucking cookies. We're just reinforcing that shitty fucking habit that we were trying to undo from the get-go. For what?
Well, and who's to say that GDPR message that's hosted by the compliance third party that's been brought in to automate your compliance isn't run by a
Uh-oh. Did I lose you?
Oh, we crashed.
No.
Oh, we're back.
I'm good. Sorry about that little thing there.
Low system resources.
Is that me or you?
That's me.
Oh, you had low system resources?
Yeah.
Oh, you froze?
I was.
Oh, I thought it was me. Usually it's me.
Nope, it was me. Because I'm at 70. Oh, it's dropping now. Yeah. Would you guys get out of my machine already? I was at like 90% CPU because I was talking smack, and then, the filter kicked in.
You need more cookies.
So I was saying, let's see if it happens again. Nobody thinks about that cookie prompt that's hosted by that automated compliance third-party provider. Where's the back end for that? Is it run by one of the clowns on the shows? Is it in our friend circle? Like, you have no idea where that's coming from. And by the way, neither does the business, because they paid somebody to deal with it, because all they heard was, if I don't do this thingy, it's a problem and trouble. And I pay people to deal with problem and trouble. So I turn to problem and I turn to trouble, and I say, go forth and do what you do. And when I go to the website the next morning, I get this thingy that looks like the thingy I said to do. So now I move on with life. And 2 weeks later, that thingy gets taken over.
Right. Yeah, I find myself, like, especially nowadays, surfing the internet less and less, because I hate the fucking stupid cookie messages. Every fucking website I go to, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then the second thing that pisses me off is every web page ever now how many fucking ads can you possibly fit on a fucking page? You fucking kidding me? It takes 30
and they've
seconds
got
for
it
your
priority
fucking page
load.
to load.
Yep,
Oh my
priority
God.
load on the ads.
And so I'm like, okay, I think the fucking ads are loaded now. And so I start scrolling down to read the news article, and then all of a sudden more ads load. So it's like boop, 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 boop. I'm like, where the fuck was I in this damn article? I gotta scroll back down. Okay, there I am. And then boop, oh, fuck you.
My favorite is when I'm doing that and it's helping to hide the thing that says this is a paid story, not a news story. And it conveniently keeps falling behind, to your point, because I've had that. I hate that shit. I'm like, Argh. Do it real fast one time and see if you don't see the little thing that goes paid story.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And you remember when, because you and I, many people remember when the web was text. It was just text.
Mm-hmm.
Pages, there were some images, but it wasn't dynamic shit.
No. They would just punch out to downloads.
Right. And it was like enjoyable to fucking browse the web. Now, every time I browse anywhere on the internet, I'm like, bullshit.
What would you like to buy that you already bought from 6 weeks ago? Can y'all fix that already, please?
And I can honestly say I've never, ever bought anything from any fucking ad I've seen on a website. That blows me away too. It's like, I kind of pretty much buy the shit I want to buy. Like, I'm like, I want to try a new hobby. I'm going to go buy a thing. I don't go like browsing the web and be like, oh, what is this cool little ad thing? I want that. Is that how people buy shit?
Well, okay. In all fairness, I have come across inspirations or became aware of new products or services. Like, advertising has its place. Like, I can't possibly know, especially since I can't go to the store like I used to and roam the aisles and actually see what was available for purchase in the world. Do you remember Montgomery Wards? My dad, when we go to Mexico, is actually more excited about going to Monkey Wards because it's still there than he is.
We have a Woolworth too.
But that's what it might be the Woolworth. But point being, when a department store was a department store, a general store, like you like, this is what the world makes. Here it is. Sears catalog, right? So if we go OG, the Sears catalog was the internet, right? So advertising has a place, but now it's craziness. And the other thing is when I was flipping through that Sears catalog, I wasn't being mined for my potential political opinion. I wasn't being targeted for certain information or disinformation campaigns. I wasn't being, I don't know if you folks are aware, but there's a couple of big data aggregators that all this shit funnels back to. And when you have a database like that, and you pair it with a lot of the things we've talked about on the show here over the episodes, you can do some pretty terrifying things. Sure. And so those cookies, and some of them, I mean, they're tracking you long after you leave that website, right? Like you say this to the cookie, that cookie's with you for life. Like that cookie is collected location data when your phone is off.
Yeah, no, totally. Well, and website, like news websites, they would be, I understand why they had ads, right? Because you were providing me news and you need to make money somehow. Mm-hmm. But now you need to subscribe too. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, okay, so now I get ads and you want me to pay to read the fucking news on your website. I kind of get it, but no, I'm not doing that either.
How about I went to Amazon and I'm a big fan of PBS. Well, if I want to watch PBS, that's an extra subscription. If I want to watch the content that my tax dollar paid to create.
Right.
Oh, and if I want to download it from the Library of Congress, as I'm also, allowed to do as a citizen, right? I have access to that resource. That's also another fee. It's just, but guess what doesn't cost me a fee? Outside of the stamp and the paper envelope, is if I handwrite them a letter and go, send me blah, 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 blah. I need copies of this up to a reasonable limit. Obviously you gotta kick in for material and time, but I don't know. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Analog human. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so here's the deal, right? The kids actually care about privacy. So this is fascinating stuff. So there's actually a movement among the youth that they are like hyper concerned about privacy. Like not all of them, but
it's too bad. It's too bad they don't have any.
no, I know, right? But here's the kicker, is where I'm going with it. They're concerned about privacy and who has the data, but they're live streaming every second of their life.
Yep. Yep. TikTok, TikTok, TikTok.
You know what I mean? Like they're like,
YouTube.
Oh, I know I'm not giving my data. I can't do these. That's protected stuff. But then they're like live streaming every waking moment. I don't get it.
No, I don't get it either. I mean, I don't know, man.
And TikTok's
it's almost
a blast.
Well, right. And it's almost like, I like to your point earlier, it's like maybe I'm just old. Maybe I'm just getting old. I'm the old guy. Get off my lawn. Maybe I'm that guy now, but I'm like, it just seems so fucking.
I don't know if that's it.
Going light speed towards a brick wall. It's gonna hurt.
I grapple with that too, because I'm like, okay, there is truth to every year that I get older, I get a little more growly, a little more gravelly, a little more right, and the tired gets on you. Caught an almost snap. Those are my favorite.
That's it. Yeah, that's multiple times a day.
The almost snap. Just 5 minutes. Beep beep beep. Son of a bitch.
Right.
But I think that's it. But I also like this world is out just straight up incompatible with the physical realm that we rooted in. And so we feel the disconnect. The youngings feel the despair. They feel the depression, the anxiety, the all that hot mess, where we're just like, this isn't right. I'm out of play. Like it's discombobulated. It doesn't feel like that's not how that works. You know what I mean? And it's not. And then everybody else is like, well, they did it that way. And then everybody's like, okay, I guess that's the thing now.
Right.
And then fast forward, it's like, oh, China's been actively running psychological warfare campaigns on your children via TikTok.
And we told you that like day one
came out.
Yep. Day one. I remember telling multiple people, I'm like,
it's a bad idea.
Don't do it. And they're like, oh, well, you did bumping the log, okay, whatever. That's the frustrating thing too. I mean, we've been in this industry long enough, and you just wish there were more progress. You wish that we would be able to close the gap a little bit, but we can't. And we can't because you just keep going faster than we can keep up with you.
Mm-hmm. The fact that I know what I know about quantum, and I know nothing, right? I know barely anything at all. But the fact I even have to spend time now, like, wait, if I wanted to be a quantum physicist, that's what I would have done in my life,
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't, then my relevancy at a certain point in my career starts to diminish, because that's what we do now. And it's almost like, do you remember when you, being a Lotus Notes expert, no longer had any real significant value, or you were a COBOL, right? Remember the couple of days that they thought COBOL was going to be replaced,
mm-hmm.
and not continue to be the backbone of the entire everything?
Right. Well, I used to do a lot of programming in Delphi.
Oh yes, Delphi. I did a PDF to VB converter because the Germans violated copyright law and published the Adobe distiller. Like they put it in a class library and exposed it, and I used Delphi as the interface to go in through to access the VB library. It was like this hokey roundabout, because it was the only way you could get that hack to work, basically.
You remember in PDF just used to be a document format?
Yes. And do you remember when PDF was not the newest leading source of infection?
Right.
What do you mean it's got macros in it? What do you mean you can hide other documents inside of it that the scanner can't see?
I read a study yesterday that, according to some research, and I didn't dig deep. I just took it at
Vicky,
face
you're
value.
freaking awesome. Sorry, Evan. Vicky, you're amazing. That is so cool. She's a COBOL programmer.
Oh yeah.
Mad props. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, what was I talking? Oh, I read a study yesterday, and I didn't dig deep. I didn't have time, but some dark web study claiming that 87% of all the malware on the dark web, which is obviously used to, hit the people we're trying to protect, is delivered by macros. I was like, holy fuck, really? 87%? And I eventually, if I give it a shit enough, I'll dig deeper into it. But how long has that been a fucking problem? You know what I mean? Since like
when were macros invented?
I know. I'm like, we certainly haven't made it fucking hard for attackers to attack us, have we? It's like,
I got Clippy to BSOD.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's like,
well, so I was, and so I talked about this briefly in class. I think number 23. We only have 7 more classes, and so fucking excited that we hired Meg. My God, yeah. It's gonna kick ass. So Meg, for people who don't know, Meg is the first ever certified VCSO, CVC. So it's a program we started, I don't know, December, maybe.
Something like that.
And now we've got a couple handfuls. We're in the second class. It's going great. But I had mentioned this in second class, and one of the students said, so is that like phishing? I'm like, no, you don't need to fish to get somebody a macro, and explain to him how it worked. He's like, is that easy? I'm like, yeah. And it was that easy back in 1993 when I was doing those attacks.
Wasn't it the Office like one? Yeah. It was a feature. Remember, it was Office, or it wasn't even that. I think it was Word something with macros.
Yeah, and it would have been 96. So back then I was writing those. You know what I mean? Before I became management, which is a whole other thing. But yeah, here we are. We've made a shit lot of progress.
Microsoft just turned them off by default by force.
But you can still turn them back on. Why not just remove the fucking thing altogether?
Have you ever dug into VBA?
Oh, fucking
you know the power of VBA.
I know, but fuck that. That's what I'm saying. That's what wins, is the simplicity. What you created was a word processing program. Just do word processing. If I want other shit, let me go buy something else that can take your shit and make it into something else. But it's this, like, we can't seem to stop ourselves from making new feature after new feature after new feature after new feature to try to solve every single problem under the sun, as opposed to just staying focused on the problem you're trying to solve to begin with. I mean, fuck, I was talking to another company today. And they view themselves as a competitor, but they wanted to write a blog post about my book, Like, so is that okay? I'm like, yeah, it's okay. And they're like, well, we're competitors. I'm like, so what % of the market do you have?
Right.
Like, they're like, well, I don't know, maybe 1%. I go, well, that's more than we have too. So what the fuck? Together we have like 1.2% of the market.
Right.
I'm not worried about you, and you shouldn't be worried about me. Let's gang up and go take the rest of it. But that's what they did. So that it's a GRC tool, and they kept adding feature after feature after feature after feature. It became so damn cumbersome that nobody could use it anymore. And so they started from scratch, and basically writing the same kind of thing that we're doing with Security Studio. I'm like, well, there you go. Stay focused on that shit. And, let's translate together. We can work together. But it's funny how we just can't seem to stop ourselves from fucking ourselves.
Correct. It's chasing convenience. There's human. I've talked about this a dozen times at least. on the show, humans are creatures of energy conservation. The longer we ignore the biomechanical human gooiness, the more we're just going to keep going around the bend again. We are inherently lazy. We see what we want to see. And what's dangerous is this is all true. And then the AI, well, it doesn't have those problems. So let's let it do it. Like that's where this goes, because we do want to be lazy inherently, because your primitive self doesn't know if it eats tomorrow or not, right? Wants to conserve that energy, doesn't know if it needs to run for its life for the next half an hour while it's being chased down by a saber-toothed tiger, right? Doesn't know these things. The anxiety, the fight or flight feelings, all of these things that bottle up. Why does exercise, if you have anxiety, why does exercise help keep the fight or flight from popping in the first place? Because you're burning off the stuff that's being built and stored in case of tiger. Well, tiger doesn't come, right? An email does. And now you have all this stuff, and then you get this email, and then you have this other like emotional response. Now you've got triple stress. Wait till they do the health study on us. It's not going to be good. I don't know a whole lot of super healthy people in this business.
Well, so it's funny you mentioned that, because
maybe Dave.
Yeah. Well, and even then, I mean, there's different types of health too, right? I mean,
right.
You can have all the muscles in the world and work on your cardio and still die from heart disease tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's holistic. And that was one of the things too about the COVID reaction, right? It's not just physical health, dying from a virus. There's so many other fucking things that you got to take into account, not to mention your quality of life. So yeah, you might be alive, but do you want to be?
Right.
Is that the existence you want? Is to, pet your fucking cats all day? And if that is, I'm not going to judge. That's fine. If that's your existence and that's the life you want to live, cool. But if you're doing it because you're afraid to fucking go outside, that's not cool. Like to what you were saying about that forced kind of reality. But anyway, they're sending me to Mayo Clinic. I guess there's some kind of executive health thingamajabber or something.
Cool.
They take you for like 5 days, and
that's awesome, man.
Poke you and prod you, and I don't know what they're gonna do. But they said according to Mayo Clinic, and there's like another couple, like Cleveland, somebody, whatever, some really good hospital and things. They do this stuff, and they say that if everybody, they did a study, like if everybody in America did this thing, that it would save the healthcare system like some hundreds of billions of dollars. Because going through this process, it's like thorough checkup, right? By like specialists. So if they find something, like let's say urologist, right? So something's wrong with the one kidney I have. You don't have to make an appointment. The urologist just walks in. You know what I mean? They're all there for you, like right then and there.
Yep.
And yeah, and so you come out of it like knowing exactly, what your regimen is supposed to do, because that's part of the plan too, right? With the next stage is to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
For so long, I've been not healthy. I don't think. I mean, I'm still alive and whatever, but not as healthy as I should be, because this business has taken so much out of me. It's time to try to put something back in the tank again. I think most people should learn to do that same thing. Same thing with computers. I mean, everything's kind of healthy when you're in balance.
Mm-hmm.
But when things get out of balance, and I don't know how many people have, like you have friends that are addicts. I have friends that are addicts. I'm an addict myself. And you know what an addict does, right? They make every fucking excuse. They don't even realize they're doing what it is they're doing. And it's people, I think, on the outside that walk alongside and they're like, dude, that ain't good for you. And some of us don't have the balls to say it. And I don't mean that as a sexist thing. I know there are women too.
Right.
Because sometimes people will take that shit out of context too.
Well, there's also the, like, okay, so you use addict as the analogy. And I always pronounce that word like they're the top of a house. It just, my wife loves it. You can't tell them they have a problem if they're not ready to hear it. You can't, they won't even see it. Or if they do see it, it doesn't register. Like I've been in and around enough of that shit over the entirety of my life. I don't know, man. Like, hey, maybe drinking a bottle of 151 and trying to, burn the house down around you is not good for anyone. Oh, let me tell you how it's everybody else's fault but mine.
Right.
Oh, hey, maybe being strung out on meth for decades and shucking your parental responsibility.
Well, and so here's what you do with an addict, though. Right?
I don't know.
I'm not going to change you, but I'm also not going to enable you. Right. So I'll use, the friend that probably my best friend.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
is he
I'm not the guy
okay right now? Is he?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but I'm not the guy you come to when you're in your addiction.
Right.
I'm probably gonna, I don't know, sell your motorcycles, kick you in the balls, do something.
Yeah.
But I'm not the guy who's going to give you any sympathy for your shitty behavior, for your shitty choices, and your shitty, for your mistakes. Mm-hmm. And I think at some point, it's got the same thing's got to kind of kick in for, the way we use computers. We continue to bail people out. You get hacked. You go under because, you didn't take simple precautions. You didn't have an asset inventory. You didn't have any idea what the fuck was going on. And so you were using these tools in your system, at home or at work that, you were completely irresponsible for. At what point do I say I'm not going to help you? I'm not going to enable this behavior. I'm sorry that it happened to you. Maybe you learned your lesson. When you start your next business, you'll take this a little more seriously, because I'd rather focus my time and energy on people that want to be responsible, that actually want to help. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's the way you treat an addict. If I was to treat, our industry the way we treat addicts, that's the way it would go.
Well, I think there's a bit of that, but then also like, here's the catch-22. Nobody goes into doing a line of coke going, this is not doing a line of coke. You know what I mean? Like the problem with the tech is the danger is invisible. It's nobody buys coke and hopes they get fentanyl. At least I suppose that can't even be a true statement. I hope that back in the day when somebody was, the point I'm trying to get at, the addictiveness from a substance side, or whether that's eating, whatever that behavior might be, is known dangerous. We sold the world a bill of goods that wasn't true. The arsenic, it's in the water. The asbestos. There you go. It's digital asbestos. We put that shit on everything. Put some on your bread. Why? It'd make it fireproof. It cures heartburn. Swallow some. And then one day, some lawyer figured out that there was this really long name for the cancer you got from it. Did about 18 million infomercials.
Oh yeah.
Remember, right? Have you ever been anywhere near the Navy? Have you or my favorite, have you or a loved one recently died? Okay, that's some good phrasing.
Well, and why would you ask, have you?
Right. Have you
recently died? Well, if I've recently died,
Yeah. But I think
real quick.
But I think that is where I draw the distinction between known participation, right, and the hidden danger. And that's where I think, we are starting to do the studies that show that a teenager on a cell phone, that their brain doesn't form right. It's the depression rates are insane. I forget what the stat was, like 50% or something. It was something absolutely insane about an increase in the suicide rates, even recently. So I think it's I don't know. It's a drug. I've watched grown adults that know it's a drug, and still be like, so anyways, I gotta check my phone real quick. So I don't know. How do you, okay, well, it's not sold as a drug. It's not labeled as a drug. And I can't buy fucking spray paint without filling out a form.
Right. Well, and so we've talked about, the next podcast that I'll probably start is going to be about calling people out on these things. So if the FTC is not going to do the job that they're supposed to be doing, maybe we should step up and do it. Start calling out the bullshit, start calling out the things that aren't healthy for you, but do it in a way that I'm only going to use facts. I'm going to try my hardest not to be biased. I'm going to try my hardest not to put my own feelings into this. It's going to be, this sucks and this is why. And let's invite these people to come tell us why, how they don't suck.
Yeah.
We've got to start talking more truth, on a wider scale, because I'm still not giving up on people.
Right.
I want to.
Is it too peoply outside? Because that happened to me the other day. Well, I've been in the house too much, right? I'm in one of my grind cycles, right? So the way I manage this job is bust ass. All right, hold on. I need a fucking couple days. Bust ass. But I went out into the world and I hadn't been out there for a while. And it was just a little bit too peoply. I needed to come back home. I was not in a good frame of mind for
I remember that when you were telling me that day. Yeah.
Dude, I'm just like, that's it. I've had it. Like, this is not going well. And it was. And I'm starting to see more of that too. Just like, oh, you moved Twitter to real life. Cool. So you're now behaving in real life the way you behave on Twitter. Awesome.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's what I'm seeing more often than I would like.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We got to figure out. I'm not one to give up. This is a hill that, for better or worse, I'll end up dying on. I think there's worse hills to die on than this one. This hill is, we talk about a lot of the things, that, complain about, and there's plenty. But then, and you hit on a little bit too about the blessings. I don't want to take for granted the fact that I'm moving to Mexico. I'm living in a beautiful home with a beautiful wife, with, all these things. And those things were rewards for the hard work and the effort. I don't ever feel like I took a dime from somebody that I didn't earn. And that's different. I think a lot of people maybe can't honestly say that, but that doesn't mean like I'm not still driven to like, fuck, we got to make this better for people. It's what gets me up every day. It's what gets me kind of jacked about things. And so this addiction, this change, this going so damn fast, these using big words, these things being confusing as fuck, even to people that are in this industry, right? I talk to other people in this industry all day, every day, just like you do. And they're using words. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Did you just make that up like right now? Well, no, I did a study. Well, tell me about your fucking study. It's like, stop the fucking insanity. And for people, I think the true key to happiness, and I mentioned this to you before, is contentment. Can you find a way to be content with where you're at right now without the newest iPhone, without the newest, latest and greatest gadgety fucking thing? Because once you can find contentment there, then go ahead and add something.
I got the newest iPhone. I put it down. Down just the same way the Android did. You know what I mean? Like, for me, I'll be honest, there are some things hobby wise, like there's a couple toys that I'm definitely looking forward to getting. But
those are hobbies. You put those in hobbies, not.
Oh, absolutely. And it gives me the power to create, which then fulfills that little tickle that I need as one of a creator to be a creator.
So, dude, I was down in Mexico and I installed, I don't know, 8 cameras in my house so far.
I know you got the spy cameras.
Dude, I got so many cameras, and I got like another 8 to put up. I'm like putting them everywhere, except for people's bedrooms. That's off limits.
I mean, I would hope so.
Yeah, no, I'm not one of those guys. I don't want to see that shit ever. But, you know, so I got them in common areas. But now I've been like finding myself all throughout the day checking the cameras, like, what's going on? You know, what does it look like there? And my housekeepers, you know, because they're in during the, unbelievable, these people, how hard they work.
Mm-hmm.
So Juan, you know Juan, right?
Yep.
He's the maintenance guy. He gets there every morning at like 9 o'clock in the morning, works until 4. I don't even know what the fuck you're doing. What kind of maintenance needs to be done? I don't know, but he's all over doing shit. And I was thinking about buzzing in on one of the cameras and saying, Juan, but that scared the fuck out of him. So I haven't done that. I will eventually, because I won't be able to control myself. Yeah. But those cameras have become a little bit addicting, and I'm hoping that goes away, because like, and now the system is armed. So I'm getting, you know, alerts when people drive by the front door.
Dopamine. That's dopamine. Okay. It's the same. It's the same thing. So this is where it gets interesting. I have never met an addictive personality that didn't ultimately have some supplemental dopamine feed that was less destructive than maybe their primary choice. But there's always something. There's it because it's that. And with ADHD people, like that's a piece too. Like we tend to be more easily addicted to things because of the way that we process those chemicals.
Right. You know, when I brought my Starlink down there too.
Yeah.
And thank God I brought that, because I got down there and Telmex, who's the telco down there, was down at our house.
Oh.
And they happened to be on strike.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, all right. I guess it's time to throw up the Starlink. So threw up, you know, got the Starlink, and then the Starlinks today don't come with any Ethernet ports, which makes it very challenging for me to get it meshed. So I went to Office Max, I don't know, whatever the fuck it was, and bought an extender.
All right.
So I took the wireless from an extender to Ethernet.
Okay.
You know, and then essentially hid the SSID. I can't turn it off on that extender because it has to have it. So, you know, so otherwise you got SSIDs all over the fucking place. So got all that working, and now all floors, you know, all 4 floors of the house and everything, minimum of 50 down, probably. Actually, there were many times I got higher up than I got down. And then I reserved a little area for myself where I was getting 196 down and 68 up.
And what is it now? Is it split channel? Is down one channel and up another? And so you've got it. So probably a higher traffic pull on the down channel.
Normally they tune, you know, you'd think they tune them the other way, but I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. So now when you get down there,
because of course, I totally am not surprised to hear that the up is performing better. How else am I getting the data I just collected on you back to the advertisers that really pay my bills?
I don't think Starlink is.
What's in the EULA? Did you read the EULA? Tell me you read it.
No, I don't. Legal people read that shit.
EULA?
I've never read a EULA. I sent them to Kevin, and Kevin reads them. I said, Kevin, can I do this? And he says, yes, you can do this. I also do that with signing things. So there was because people ask me to sign shit all the time. And I'm like, I don't have time to read it. So I send it to Kevin. I go, Kevin, can I sign this? He's like, no. So I don't sign it. And you get into that habit. Like there was a signature thing, some dude out of nowhere. I guess we have a real estate investment or some shit. And some dude wanted me to sign something. I was like, so I sent it to Kevin, like, what the fuck is this? He's like, yeah, I don't know what this is. And then he emailed me back and said, yeah, you can sign it. So that was just like,
I got a suspicious packet. Oh, by the way, We'll connect offline. We need to talk about suspicious package handling protocols.
Who did what?
A suspicious package addressed to me with no return address, padded envelope set up, got sent to the new office. Somebody decided on my behalf to open said package and check it out. And then we had to talk about that. But that's a different story. I'm like, hey, FYI, first off, no, don't open somebody else's stuff, but also like, hey, it's a network scanning appliance that I did not request.
Are you a fucking hacker?
Well, yeah. And so fucking hackers get fucking targeted by fucking people that want to fuck with them, because when you hack for the good guys, the bad guys don't like that. And sometimes people just want to test your metal. Hey,
bad guy, fuck off. Not you. The bad guy's watching this.
I'm the good bad guy. I'm a different kind of bad guy. I'm your friendly neighborhood bad guy. But no, seriously. And I can't show you the product because it would reveal the branding, and I don't want to do that. But I will connect with you offline and send you some pics. It's something I've been wanting to check out, but I didn't order this. Here's the best part of the story. Package, I tell said person to bring me said thing so I can like investigate. It's brought to me without its original packaging. So it's just the thing set out front the house. Amy's like, there's a suspicious thing and I don't know, but I looked at it and it looks like if I bring it in the house, it's going to scan everything. Like, good girl, good on you. Good job. That's what I'm talking about.
Plug it in.
No. What the fuck this thing is? Hell no. I ain't got time to rebuild no network right now.
Send it to me. I'll plug it in.
No, we're not doing that either. I
don't
know what it does because I don't know what it is, where it came from.
I know. Send it to me. I want it. I want to plug it in.
To what? We got a lab. Where's your lab?
I don't tell you where my lab is.
I can bring mine off of the ice it's on.
I don't tell you like 90% of that shit, because if they get you,
I know.
You on the stand, you can say that I don't know and you're not lying.
Correct. There's a whole lot of I don't know, and we're good because I don't know.
Nope.
Wasn't me. Wasn't there.
That's why I don't understand why some people, I mean, I do understand people. I mean, if you're an ego-driven hacker, you brag about shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You make it known and make yourself a name, and that's all good and dandy. I'm not ever motivated by that. So most of the shit that I do, nobody knows. I don't want anybody to know.
Right.
If I do want you to know, then I'm going to try to make you think that it's yours so that you can take it. I don't want you knowing that I did anything. Let somebody else do it. That way I can escape to Mexico and nobody fucking follows me. I can fake this, nobody's like trying to go get Evan, because what did Evan do? Well, he runs a fucking company, but he ain't got no fucking skills. He wrote a book. That's about it. Leave him alone.
I showed somebody how to hack today. He goes, how do they do it? I said, here, let me show you. And I opened Google and I put in their name. And I said, this is called OSINT.
I just OSINT'd your ass, motherfucker.
And then I explained that if I was targeting, I wouldn't be targeting them. And you see this nifty little tree where all your relatives have swapped their DNA and uploaded all this data. And I now know every address, phone number, GPS location, all the kids' Snapchats, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and all I did was go to 3 websites and type in, and now I have a CIA level dossier on your family. Shouldn't be that easy. He's like, that's hacking. I'm like, that's a form of it. That's part of it. Depends. What are they going after? What's the point of the attack? Where's the matrix? Nope.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that people lost. I mean,
but it's crazy how like super quick, like boom, here's the relatives, here's the Snap accounts, there's so much of that crap is public.
Right. No, it's well, it's just the shoddy work. I mean, there's that stuff, and then there's you put things into production that should have never, ever, ever found them way into production. You know, all over the place, right? You don't have to look very far. You know, you can go hit up your little fucking dish Joey over here. It won't take you very long. You know, and that's what has always driven us, has been the curiosity. You know, I
want to know how it works.
I grew up as a kid. Yeah, I mean,
I talked about that today. I did a podcast today with Neil Hughes, and part, you know, he's like, origin. Well, part of that is I took everything apart. I took apart the phone, the VCR, the radios, the TV, like anything I could get my hands on and disassemble to try to figure it out. I think, I don't know if you and I talked about this, but that actually, no, I think it was me and Tony A that talked about this, but the curiosity of that spurred me to go into IT, and now they don't start there, right? There is no take apart. And if I take apart my phone, I need a freaking microscope to see any of the bits and pieces anyway, so I can't really tell what's going on. You know, you used to be able to look at a logic circuit and generally tell the logic. You could see where the resistors, transistors, you know, you could kind of had to know what you're looking at, but also could kind of figure it out. Like, well, if the power comes in on this line,
right?
And now that's not a thing. So the problem, to your point though, about defects making it to prod, well, if you don't actually understand what it is you're coding, and all you know is I do the coding and this much functionality, I check it in, I move on, I do this much functionality, I check in, move on, you're going to have a huge defect rate.
Well, and then throw in open source libraries and you're fucked. I mean, that's the thing. It's nobody knows what they're fucking coding anymore.
Well, have you heard of protestware?
Oh yeah.
I believe we said that was going to happen on the show, what, almost a year before it started becoming a trend? You just wait till people start deleting GitHubs.
When I remember when people started using kind of open source libraries, because I come from, I guess, you know, JASP software, where we built everything, you know, from scratch. And then I started hearing, you know, using open source libraries. I'm like, why would I fucking trust somebody else's code? I don't even trust. I mean, that's why we often, you know, then we would code in pairs. We'd have peer reviews all the time. I don't trust the guy sitting next to me coding. I don't trust him,
right,
or her. So now I'm going to trust some fucking just shit built from somewhere else. Well, it's open source, so it's been vetted. Well, really? Has it? You know, so now, and what's the average nowadays? It's like some fucking crazy ass number, like 84. I can't remember. I got to go find that data again.
You're talking about percentage of code that's made up by shared libraries?
The average web application, I think, is calling 84 open source libraries, or using 84 open source.
I would buy that. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I have my own source code and hooks and all that shit to, you know, worry about, and then updating these 84 open source libraries. I know there's software that can do that for you, but you realize that open source libraries have maintainers, and maintainers don't maintain the code forever. They move on to other things. I mean, somebody else steps in to maintain the code, and that somebody else, have they been background checked? Have they, you know, do we believe that they actually know what the fuck they're doing? Because we've seen those attacks. MageCart was a big one, you know, where the maintainer was a criminal. And that's just one attack vector. I mean, fucking keep going down that path. Keep, you know, think of all the creative ways. So when you talk about hacker, that's what 90% of what we do is think of creative ways to use something in a way that nobody else is really using it, and see how it behaves, see what happens. Can I do something cool with this that nobody else thought I could do? Well, take all of this shit, you know, that was just one attack vector. Think of all the other ways that you can compromise these things, and it's no surprise. I mean, hacking, you know, I saw a really good one yesterday. Oh, that was the one that Chris sent us. Did you watch that video?
Which one?
I don't know. It was good though. Fuck. I was like, this is legit.
Chip sent
I watched.
me.
It was a reversing.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't had a chance, but I'm excited. Yeah, because I was looking at that going, ooh.
Yeah, now that's a guy. You can tell the ones that know what they're talking about and the ones that are full of shit. As he's talking through it, and he's going back through different memory stacks of things. It's like, all right, this dude's legit. Yeah, but his name's out there. So he's got the CIA on his ass. Not yours or mine. I don't know, nothing. I ride a Harley and scuba dive.
What you talking about, Willis? What you talking about, Willis?
I ride a Harley and scuba dive and bitch a lot. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm. I'm a good boy. And they got tabs on me anyways. Come on.
I won't claim to be a good boy, but I'm not a bad boy in the way you think I am.
I know where a line is and I stay away from it, right? There's ways and means and ways and means.
Well, my favorite stuff, I've always been a big fan of Chris Hadnagy, and I'm not involved in all the other bullshit. I don't know. Right. I don't get involved in any of that stuff purposely. I don't like drama. Fuck the drama. I don't have time for it. But I learned a fuckload from him over the years. And when you can blend pretty good tech skills with pretty good social engineering skills, you can do some amazing things where you could plant ideas in other people's brains that they think that they created it when you were the one that created it. And you don't care that other people take credit for your work. That's one of my favorite things, actually, is when you hear somebody else do something or say something or see something that you did, that you created, and nobody knows you did it. That guy actually thinks he did it. That's fun. Because it becomes somebody else owns it too, right?
And it's for good, right? I've always respected that line because that is a skill set. Yeah, there's a bug or something on the camera.
Yeah. And when I put it in my nose, like right here.
Yeah.
It's in my nose.
Is it light refraction maybe? Is there like a...
Yeah, it is. It's like I got a booger. See it? It's a jumping booger. Boink, 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 boink.
But I think, social engineering for good is okay, right? That's the one time that I do think it's okay to use it outside of an engagement, as if it's for good.
I'm looking at now.
Don't do the window licker thing. That's not good.
I'm not actually looking the window.
Don't be a window licker.
See, when I go right here, can't see it anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's so weird. Is it a dead pixel in the camera? I don't know.
No, it's a light over there. One of these lights shining off. Yeah.
There. Okay. Yep. No, they can't be because your hand.
It's gone now.
All right.
There it is.
Chasing lights.
Yeah. All right. So change.
Yeah. So here was the crux.
Change your underwear.
Change your underwear. Change your attitude.
I like it.
Right.
Even if you're talking to me and saying I need to change my attitude, I trust you.
I'm telling everybody, change your attitude.
But I'm trusting you enough that you are coming from the right place. So if you were to say that to me, I'd be like, I think I need to change my attitude.
Smile more. No, change agility, right? So as we continue down this dystopian hellscape we call the internet, I think it's important to start to cultivate change agility in the team and realize that change fatigue is a thing, and the change curve and the grief curve are the same curve. So, one of the things, and we'll connect deeper on this later, that I've actually been thinking about a lot is managing change in regards to, you moving to Mexico, right? That's a thing. And that's a thing that needs to be managed and communicated, and there's open questions all over the board and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, significant change. And we know this from security. If you don't manage significant change, it don't go so hot. It tends to go sideways. It tends to create vulnerabilities you didn't intend to. It tends to be disruptive in ways that you didn't anticipate.
Right.
And so that got me kind of down the change path, because I'm like, okay, I want to put a communique together about things just to send some reassurances of, you've heard stuff about he's moving, and because I'm getting questions and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, every day something's different. And I do okay at keeping up with it, but not everybody else does. And then I'm like, oh my God, like, I wonder how our security folks are feeling right now, where, okay, now it's clickless malware. Now it's codeless. Now it's like, what in the actual fuck is going on? Whack-a-mole, whack-a-mole. And then you throw quantum into the blender, and it's like, are we as a people going to even be able to like navigate this change?
I think we've already passed that.
You know what I mean? It's like, is this how Atlantis disappeared? Like, did we get to this point and it just like self implodes because we can't be nice? But I will tell you, in feeling that way, God has done nothing but put opportunities and people in my path every day to show me that there is good, to show me that there is hope, and that there is maybe just enough of the warriors that we need to actually make a real dent here in what we're trying to do in a meaningful way, right? And bring a tangible value that we can feel to all this sacrifice and investment. Because I don't know if you're feeling that as you're looking to transition. I mean, you've had a huge impact on the industry, but the tangibility of our work it's not there, like playing the guitar or blacksmithing, right? It's not a thing I can touch. And if it's going to keep changing and changing and changing, we got to bake in plans for this, for agility, for stepping away for a while. Like I almost wonder if our incident responders as a whole, like 25 hours, cool, that's it, guys. Sorry, you're cooked. Like you read so much new shit that you barely understood in the midst of crisis while trying to chase the dragon to shut the thing down. Like, right. What's that mental toll over time? And I don't know. I digress.
No, I agree, man. It's the mental toll. It's a relationship toll. I've always said you can tell in my life, I can tell my work-life balance by, where my relationships are at. Starting with my wife. My wife, if we're, feel disconnected, feel like roommates, those are cues, that you're out of balance. And so put the fucking computer down, take her out on a date, go do something, same with friends, and, one of my friends, is going through some pretty big personal issues, and he's in this industry. And so I just sent him a text one day just to check in with him, how you doing? And he said, well, actually not good. I'm going through these issues and these struggles. And I'm like, well, what the fuck, man? And he's like, well, I didn't want to bother you. I was like, and so what I said, and it's kind of catchy now because I'm going to use it more. It's, you missed the R. He's like, what do you mean? I go, it's not bother, it's brother. You know what I mean? And I need to stress that more, when you talk about, going so fast, taking a minute to focus on what really matters. And, that's the people in your circle of influence, right? My wife, my family, close friends, you gotta make time for that shit. So I think, in this change that I'm going through, I think it'll be a lot more of that. It'll be a lot more reflection in a healthier place. And I think I actually think I'll get more work done, to be honest, because I think I'll be less stressed. When there's been studies that have, been done that when people are stressed, when people are not well rested, they actually get less work done. So it's almost like a catch-22. You work more hours and get less done.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you find your healthy spot, you can work less hours and get more done. And I think that's the goal.
Well, it is. And hours and output only are a one-to-one in very specific scenarios. But in our line of work, hours and output aren't there's not a one-to-one. Right. And you know this, it's the best shit I come up with is never in front of the keyboard. It's never in front of the monitor. I have every deck I have ever created, every coined phrase I've come up with. It's been in the shop, trying not to cut my fucking fingers off or try, you know what I mean? I'm so focused on like, okay, don't screw up and hurt yourself, that my brain can do things that it just, I don't know. There's something when you turn these damn screens on, it just kind of.
No, you're right, man.
Almost like a lulling. It's, you know what I mean? Like the blue light. It's just like,
yeah, mine's in the truck, in the motorcycle, or in the shower. Which ironically is places where I do most of my praying too. So it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah, it's not in front of the computer. I think most of the time I spend in the front of the computer now is with these fucking emails. How many fucking emails can one person get in a day? Holy shit.
So I feel this pain, hence the implementing of the, I don't want another fucking email, put it here. Put it here. Just at one spot. In so much email. So many emails. So many emails.
Talk about information overload.
Well, and how do you prioritize the deluge? And we'll be figuring this out, right? Because that's another thing. Like email fatigue is super real. Like, and the salespeople are feeling it, right? You cannot get, God bless you, but cold email. I don't know anybody anymore that's entertaining that unless it is not a pitch. Like if you manage to write something super thoughtful that like actually is a meaningful, you know, hey, trying to get to know you thing and actually put thought into it, and you don't pitch product, you might get through. The rest of it adds you to the list of other people trying to sell me a list of shit that I didn't ask for.
Well, it's not even spam in my emails. I'm like looking at what I got left to respond to from.
Well, no, but that's just overload noise. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you got to be what? At least 1,000 unread, 800 unread.
Oh, fuck.
20,000 unread.
No, probably in the 3,000.
Okay. That's all right. Well, now I feel better.
And I'll never get to them. There's no way. I can't get to, I know that there are emails in my mind that I saw from last week that I'm like, I got to fucking reply to that one. And I still can't get to it. I can't get to it. I'm like, fuck, I know it's there, but this shit right here on the top I got to get these done. And then I never get to it.
Yeah.
Whole fucking day.
Yep.
Son of a fucking bitch.
I'm working on trying to come up with some systems because I know exactly what you're saying. And I'm trying to find, some of this is ADD stuff too, like legit. Like I am very like, oh, because there are a few things you and I are just so exactly on the same page. Well, I started looking at it. Some of it is we have some shared traits of personality and whatever, but some of it is just straight up ADD stuff where it's like, yep, that's a thing. Like that's part of it is that, like, one of the systems I'm going to implement soon is only twice a day for email. Like can't have Outlook open. Can't do it. Boop. Oh, I gotta react. I gotta respond. Well, every time I'm doing that, I'm pulling myself. There's this, it's called flow. And it's this idea that if I'm only thinking about the thing that I'm doing right that very second, and that's it, I can get through that thing quite quickly. Right. It's all these micro interruptions. It's the dinging of the phone. It's the, and for us ADD people, it's worse. It's the neighbor firing up the lawnmower and you're like, what's going on over there? You know what I mean? So it's like, right. So creating mechanisms to limit that, but I got to communicate that, right? Like if I'm going to make that change, I'm going to only check email twice a day, then the whole world needs to be very clear. Ryan's only checking email twice a day. So if I'm not responded to you in X amount of time, it's because you hit me in between. So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna try out a few things and see what works and what doesn't, because that's the only way I know how to figure shit out in this world.
Well, yeah, and I'm in my like.
And if anybody's got any tips, let me know.
Sixth office now in the last 2 weeks. So I was in the garage.
Yeah.
And then you go to Mexico, trying to find that place. And then I come back home and my desk is gone. I can't go in the garage anymore because the Starlink is gone. So my desk is gone in here because I guess we gave it to one of my sons. And then, so I'm like, well, I'll set up in the dining room then, because, and then I was there for 2 days and Mom's like, you got to move. I'm like, well, where? I don't know where to go. There's no place left for me to work. And she's like, because I guess our kids, some of our other kids took our couches. So I have no living room furniture now. And so we moved the dining room table into the dining room table into the living room. And so that's my office now. So I have a nice big office, but I wonder how long that stays there.
It's gonna
talk about change. I have no idea. I don't even know where the fuck I'm working right now.
It's gonna and it's gonna be a few weeks, man. And when you get down there, it's gonna be a few weeks. Like this is a big freaking deal, dude. Like,
yeah,
we'll talk more about that offline, me and you, because I wanna be present for you, because this ain't a small thing.
It's fun as hell though, man.
Oh, I know, but like the facets of
it's a hell of a ride.
Well, and here's what it is, man. I'm watching. Make no mistake, I'm paying very close attention to anybody doing things before me, going, how's that going? Like, how's that working? Like, because I want to avoid mistakes that I can, if I can see them, right? And then I can find a new creative way to screw something up, and then that can be somebody else's learning. But yeah, just know I'm here for you, man. And I feel it. And your change has impact on change I'm going through as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I'm growing in the comfort of that. That's, my deal, man. That's, but being humble, but also like, okay, yeah, I get it. So yeah, change, it's awesome. Embrace it. And if you're in this business and you ain't comfortable with constant chaotic levels of change, probably not the career field you want to pick.
Right. Yeah. Every day is a new day, man. Wake up in the morning, like, what the fuck happened last night while I was sleeping?
Yeah, what's on fire now?
I only slept for like 3 hours. How the fuck did that happen?
Oh, it's so true.
All right, man. Well, hopefully Chris is okay. I haven't heard from him.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him. I'm a little concerned. It's abnormal of him to not at least let us know. You know what I mean? Like this, I don't think there's ever been a no call, no show. So I'm gonna call him now. And I encourage you to do the same.
Yep.
Just in case, and yeah, and I'll group us if we get connected and whatever.
Yep, I'll be up for a while longer.
All right. I got some other avenues too. So if we need to do a welfare check, I got a few buttons we can push.
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie, smoky pokey.
All right, brother. Love you.
Love all of you. Vicky, super awesome about that COBOL thing. And if you're not raking in the dough, holler at your boy. There's some businesses up here desperate for COBOL programmers.
Yeah, I just did that.
Oh, there you go. And the steeples, right. The peoples.
Yeah.